Hello and welcome to the Wisdom Factory Women Matters, a conversation among, I think you say in English, among women who want to find out what are the impediments of women stepping into their highest potential and into leadership in the world. And we have here the second session. Last time we were together, me, Heidi Hörnlein, and Gertraud Wegst. Say hello.
Hi.
And Tammy, Leah, Meyer.
Well, it's Tammy Lee Meyer. No,
okay.
tricks you.
I am pronouncing it German. And today we have also Monika Schmidt from Germany.
Hello.
Hello. So we are 3/4 German and one part Canadian, as you are. So we try to talk in English anyway. And our topic for today, how do we empower ourselves and each other? And I think, Tammy, last time you said you would like that we share our experience in this realm. So I wonder if you want to just take over and guide us into that.
Sure. Well, one of the things that I was thinking would be really helpful and useful is for us to know a little bit about what we do and how we already empower ourselves, because I think that from what I've seen, I've just met Moni, but you are both two very empowered women, and I very much admire you from the time that I've been able to spend. And so, yeah, I'm interested in what we each do and what currently empowers us. So, yeah, I'm happy to start, unless someone wants to jump up and go. Okay, so over the last decade and a half or so, one of the things that has really empowered me is thinking about the power of the voice.
Sure.
Just mute yourself, yeah.
That was a voice.
That was a voice. And really thinking and working in communities to be able to get messages out there of important campaigns that people need to know about, and also just looking at these new communication tools that we have and finding ways to be able to see ourselves and to inspire others by the work that we're doing in communities. I guess I would also say that I feel like one of the biggest currencies we have is the most important currencies we have is the currency of attention, and the more that we can create important conversations to be had, and the more that we can communicate and model who we want to be and how we want to be in the world, the stronger we are and the more empowered we are. So that's a little bit.
And you will talk a little bit more afterwards when we have done our introduction. Maybe you can add, for who has not seen the last session, a little bit what you regularly do, what your expertise is, let's say.
Well, I'm an experimenter. My expertise is in experimenting, so I call myself a media experimentalist. But I've also, over the last maybe 5 to 10 years, really been looking at the economy. And I'm on the board of a small credit union here in Vancouver, in what's known as Vancouver, actually. On unceded Coast Salish territory, so I've been looking at the economy and looking at the new players in that space, and really on an inquiry to find out how can we transition our economy from where it's been to where it needs to be to create the context for a fair and just society. So those are the things that I'm interested in. My method is to have conversations with people that are doing awesome things, so that we can not only raise awareness about it, but also bring people together who can be useful to each other's projects, and they can share knowledge and wisdom and help to move each other's projects forward. So that's what I've been working on.
Thank you. And a part of it is what we are doing here now, isn't it?
Yes. Yay!
Okay, who wants to go next? I'm curious about Monika. Would you like to present yourself even a little bit more widely, because it's the first time you are joining us? Okay.
So I say hello to all the audience out there and to these wonderful, lovely ladies in here. Well, I'm a German teacher. I grew up with two brothers. I put this in my bio because it's somehow important for how I grew up. It was empowering is that topic, and I grew with the two brothers almost as if we have been three boys, you know, so very in equal rights. But there was always one point my father sent me into the kitchen to do the washing, and I said, why should I do this? Because we all three were going to high school, we all three were busy in the same way. Why should I do the cleaning the dishes and not my brothers, or even just change? And he said, because you are a girl. So that's a context within I grew up, and I'm sure most of the ladies who are grown-ups right now have been growing up in this context. Even you are not conscious about this. It's so powerful, and we are getting to liberate us from this as soon as we discover it. And it's not easy to discover, or even when you have recognized this power of your education, it's the next step to get rid of it, or what to put instead of it. So that's a huge challenge throughout my whole life, and I tried to pass this sorry, sometimes the words are missing. I tried to pass the equality of gender, to pass it on to my students. So be respectful with all pupils in my classes. I had first, second, third, and fourth graders in the most of the time. Sometimes I've been on to fifth and sixth grade as well. But in the lower graders, it's important to be very respectful with them. And it's not, unfortunately, it's not the rule. There are lots of colleagues who are neglecting, misachten, Heidi?
Disrespect.
Yeah, disrespect the students' needs, or what they are driven from. And yeah, that was my main mission, to be respectful with the students, besides teaching them content. Yeah, and I myself, I'm married, and I've two children, a son and a girl, grown-ups now, almost 30 years, and it's so impressive and so wonderful to see them grow up and find their way, go their way, make up their minds and follow their decisions, and it's just gorgeous. It's wonderful.
This is great. And can I ask you how you found your empowerment? How, I mean, you are in this generation like me where it was not so normal yet that the women went out and went for their way. Who did support you?
Hiya. On the first point, it was my decision. I wanted to go out and do something really great. And on the second, it was my husband. At the end, it was my husband. Not at the end, but at the end of my youth time, it was my husband to empower me and say, you make it gorgeous, you are wonderful, you go on and do what you want to do. That was great. But then it changed. Well, it changed. Now it is there is a relationship between you and your husband usually, so between the two partners, and the relationship implements some kind of Abhängigkeit. Dependency, yes. And now I'm about to get rid of the dependencies that are inbound to the relationships. And that's my actual challenge. It's not easy. It's much more difficult than I would have expected. And I can tell this to you. I've been diagnosed by cancer 3 years ago. And that was the act that turned my life upside down completely. And I had to realize that the beliefs and all the fundamental things in my life didn't work any longer. There was something wrong. It felt wrong, and I didn't know what. And I'm searching for the new truth, or the old truth, finally getting to the truth. So that's my way I'm on right now.
Wow. Yeah.
And maybe let me tell add this. I find a huge support in online in the social medias online, on Google Plus, on first position, but there are some more, and it's great to find people to give support to each other, and that's empowering me. Very, very huge, very powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the first step, I guess.
Good. We will talk about that because I think there are similar experiences around, and it's interesting what we are doing with this, no?
Yeah.
Tammy, would you like to take over today? So
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I guess I just want to share that was very moving. Thank you so much, Monika, for sharing that. It's very powerful to hear you speak from your heart about your journey and about what you're learning. And yeah, thank you for just sharing so beautifully.
Yeah, it's very touching to me too, and it's great. It's great to be here and talk about this. Thank you for being with me.
Wonderful. Gertraud, do you want to go next?
Oops.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Actually, I thought Heidi would be the next because she's always the last.
Okay, great.
So I think it's, yeah.
Heidi, you're on.
Okay, not to being the last. I tried, you may have noticed, to give over the moderation to Tammy today because it's too much my role. I have to go out a little bit of these roles too. Where I get empowerment from, I mean, my past was more or less like what Monika said, no? I was a good boy. But then when it came to choosing a profession, my father said, you better go primary teacher, because then you will have children, and it's the best thing for women to be that, because then you can go back into the profession. So, and I said, no, I don't want to be a teacher. You know, this idea of wanting to do something, but not what the parents or other people have reserved for you. And so part of my life was a struggle against becoming a teacher. I did the studies, and at the end, then I didn't do, I wanted to do, if I'm a teacher, then I'm a teacher in mathematics, and I studied mathematics and physics and something, but then I'm better, you know, not just a woman. My father said, you are only a woman, things like that, you know.
Yeah.
So, but it was very difficult studying mathematics for me, because it was so different in university than in school. And physics I abandoned after 3 semesters, and then I went over to English, and at the end I did a Master of Arts in linguistics, and that was interesting. I only now see a sort of correlation, because my thesis was about conversations, about the structure of conversations. How do you give the moment where somebody else can enter, or how do you keep your part, you know, how do you avoid that somebody else comes into? And I did studies, and I liked it, but after I left it away, and I wanted to sing, you know, because it was too much head stuff. And for me, going into singing was the feminine part, you know, only that I approached it with masculine energies. It must be right, you know, always right and perfect and power, like that. Okay, and I went on, and then I came here to Italy, try out the green life, and first studying music and singing, really Italian singing, you know. And then I was with a partner here, went to the countryside, and I was a farmer for 5 years, exclusively on the country, and I emerged into the nature life, and this was very great, but, you know, different. Nobody around gives you any money for that, and when we separated, then I had to earn money, and I went out, and what did I do? I taught, teaching, singing, teaching, singing. So I ended up to be a teacher. And I find out that I really do like teaching, and what I want to teach today is, you know, these things, what we are doing now, like being visible, or being empowered, and whatever. And the real empowerment I got, I was a lonely fighter. I did all by myself, and against the resistance of various husbands, partners, parents, and whatever. Siblings too. They ridiculed quite a lot when I did the singing thing, because it's, you know. And I thought too, it's not really something to earn money and to, you know, so I never really earned money with it, because it was the beliefs. So the real empowerment came about 6 years ago, when I got into the course which is called Feminine Power. And there are so many Schuppen von den Augen fallen, so many things opened for me of my own conditioning, which I have never seen before. And I was committed to bring that out, and mainly to German-speaking people, because it was all in English. It didn't work out with these people, but for me it was very important to learn all these things and be in contact with people online, beginning to go on Facebook, which I hated all the time, and because I thought, this, I want to do that. I want people to know about that. I didn't know it for 50-something years, and many don't, and so I want to put that out, and so I have to do something, you know. And this began with Facebook, and then with Google Plus, which I really do like, and then beginning to do the shows, and beginning to be visible, and find other people to support me and to come into, as you do now. And you know, this is for me the empowerment to do what I want to do. It might not be now anymore the pure feminine power teaching as I thought before, but it is always an empowerment and a learning which is easy to see as somebody shows you, you know, out of my own experience. And this showing I wanted to do, and I think it's still in many ways my mission to do that.
Wonderful. I love the part of you modeling empowerment, because that's what I've witnessed. And this way of modeling empowerment is really, it is in the feminine, because we're listening and we're right. So there's that, not only the strength of modeling this beautiful presence, but also yeah, that holding space for what potential exists. And I love that approach to your work. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So now to you, Gertraud. Last one today.
Yeah, I have been thinking where the empowerment came from, and I think there were different parts in my life, but one sure was my failed first marriage. And this was some 30 years ago, and I had one daughter. I could say that empowerment also came with becoming a mother, being able to nourish that girl and really being in this and seeing her grow. And one of the big things for me is being a mother, and that is a big source of having 3 kids, 3 daughters. I can't talk about boys. I have 3 adult daughters. Sorry. And when my first marriage broke down, I knew, for example, I wanted to have more kids. He didn't. He was together with my best friend. So there were a lot of, I really had a big breakdown. Like, I was, at that time, I didn't want to admit it, but I think I was pretty much depressed. And going into a new relationship, I thought, I bring myself with me, so I need to have support. And then with my now husband, we thought we wanted to do it in a good way, and so we started and we decided to adopt a baby. And pretty soon after, I got pregnant, so we have 2 in 9 weeks. And I really, we thought we need support in that. And so I started with Gestalt therapy, or we as a preparation for the babies. And later on, I did a body therapy training. And through this, I think a lot of what has been said by Monika and you and Heidi, I really dug deep and saw what patterns, what old hurts and traumas were there, and to really work on that. And then it went on. I mean, it's like learning is learning and working and going deep and having insights and working with that and going the next step. That's part of who I am. I didn't stop it. I didn't have to do all the formal trainings, but just go on working. Ken would say growing up and working, cleaning up the shadow work. So actually, it's my girls who made me do that, because I wanted to be a good mother and I wanted to be able to have a good relationship. So that was one part. And then also job-wise, I had different jobs. I was working, I had studied nutrition and home economics, and was around the girls, like working in the midwife school and for nurses and all kinds of folk high school. And then I got a job in a dietetic center to lead a dietetic center for binge eaters. And when then somebody with 140 kilograms is standing in front of you and says, I have lost my kilos, I have lost my weight 3 times, so don't tell me anything about losing weight, but keeping it down, I don't know how that works. And so I got interested, what is that? And more I got interested in not so much the dietetic part or the eating part, but what is behind that. And yeah, so, and when that closed down, I was, I did some training for, psychotherapy. And there were several circumstances. I think my life was always like, I come to a wall or a limit or something, and then I can choose to go back or climb over it, try to climb over it, jump over it, whatever that means, and learn more. And I think I mostly chose the latter. And then I was leading, I started with one nursing home, leading all that was not nursing, so the facility management. And all of a sudden, I realized that with my studies, I didn't know much about the building. So I started a new studies, facility management. So to know and to work with the architects and all the technical people. So, and it was so funny when my girls were in 10th grade, I think, and we all sat at the kitchen table doing the homework. I did my stuff for electro techniques. And then we had this, what do you call it, trigonometry? Yeah. And I was doing this, and they did the same in their school. And then one day they came home and said, well, today somebody said, why do we have to learn this? Somebody said, and they said, yes, you will need it. My mom, she's just learning it too. So go ahead and learn it. And this is really great too. And one day my eldest said, Mom, I'm not afraid of being unemployed. I'm not afraid of losing a job or going somewhere else or finding a new one, because I've seen you that you never gave up, just went on and learned the next step. So that is, yeah, and having a husband who took over when I was in this nursing home. Then 2 colleagues died of cancer, and one left for Australia. All of a sudden, I had 4 houses and had to take care of 600 people. And that was like, I didn't choose that from the beginning. I chose that one house. But all of a sudden, it was like, okay, who's going to do it? And so I just stepped into that and took over. And my husband just brought his office home, so when the girls come home from school, he would be there. And so it was kind of flowing back and forth. When he needed more or I needed more. And there was never, ever something from him to say, no, you can't do it, or because you're a woman, this is not possible. I mean, he didn't like everything I did, but he was pretty empowering, and at the meantime, he became a very good photographer, which he didn't study from the beginning. It was also the girls that made him take his hobby as profession. So, yeah, and almost 6 years ago, I came together with several people and learned appreciative inquiry. And I thought that is it. Learning all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I had several trainings. Client-centered consulting, the body therapy, a coaching training, and everything. And when I learned appreciative inquiry, it was like, that's the missing link. That is what's the basis on which I built all the others and can put in the tools from wherever. And then with appreciative inquiry, with several students from the same, who learned the same, we created ourselves, the appreciators. So, yeah, and we are together now for 6 years with 8 people and still the same. And we are working with leaders, all kinds of leaders, from board to wherever. And it's about having appreciation as source of added value, as source of business. Not just one said, oh, we need to take care of the numbers and then we can put some poor pink sauce on it. So it's to get that appreciation is the basis, is, yeah, that's what people are craving for, what they need to do to have their brains function, to really do that. And my mission, and that is a big part that also empowers me to say, okay, that's where it goes, is being source of appreciation for people and organizations worldwide. So it fits or it doesn't, and that's, yeah. And our last baby is to write a book about appreciation in companies.
I have to jump in here, Gertraud, because you are describing so much of what I have lived when I met Feminine Power, the courses and the coaches training and everything, because it was the same thing as, that's it, this is the missing link, and this is much based on appreciation. I felt when we did the exercises how difficult it is, appreciation, how little we are used to give that. And I normally wrote my messages, and I still often do. And then at the end, I write the appreciation on the top, because it's such a habit, as I would think, especially German habit, that we see the negative things and name the negative things, but not the good things. It's really a hard and steep learning curve. And then the other thing I wanted to add is what you describe as your way is exactly the feminine way, which I've understood in Feminine Power, that this is our feminine power to do what is needed to do in the moment. When you said about the 6 or 4 houses you had, it was not a choice. You don't think, oh, how can I do that, as men often would do, and would make a plan of how you just do it because it's needed. You know, and this is very much the feminine quality, which for me is very much underestimated and also seen as volatile or as not focused or not clear and not goal-oriented. Instead, it is exactly what we need to begin to go and then see what can we do, instead of waiting until things are down the hill. So it's really great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, wonderful. The appreciative inquiry piece was a wonderful process to experience through the midwifing process that we had as well. One thing that really struck me early in what you said, Gertraud, is that you wanted to take yourself into your next marriage, into your next life. You wanted to bring yourself. And when you said that, I really caught a picture of you really bringing your own power from yourself as such a key decision. When you said that, it gave me chills, because and that was early. That was at the end of your first marriage, and so yeah, it just really inspired and moved me to think about, yes, that is what we need to. We're not embedded in this culture where we're limited by this glass ceiling. We actually just need to bring ourselves. And yeah, I think you've done that.
Yeah, and having the girls now, they are 33, and the two younger ones are going to be 29, and to see that one day my husband and I, we said, this is the basics. I mean, now it's an add-on our life. I mean, we achieved that. That's enough. So, yeah. And they are the best friends, all three, with all different biology. Yeah. Wonderful.
So I'm wondering if we could just do a little short exploration around. I'll start here. I look out at the world today and I'm concerned. I see that we're on a track that is deeply concerning for people all over the world for many reasons, and they're many and diverse. And much of what we're facing, we need a wisdom factory, and we need appreciative inquiry, and we need teachers, and we need to see new kinds of media emerge. I'm deeply appreciative of Heidi, your work in bringing us all together. And when I guess what I'd love to hear is do you think that we can turn things around? Is it possible that we are able to turn towards something else that can help us to do this transition, not just both at a community level as well as a global level? And I know that's a big question, but I think it's worth our time. So do you think that we can turn things around? And I'll turn that over to anyone who is ready to go there.
I'm ready to go there. I deeply believe that we are able to turn things around, but not necessarily by activism. By, as we have named this today, by empowerment. Empowerment of women take their role in society. And I'm really very, how do you say, encouraged by that, that this weekend there were in 6 Italian cities were the elections for mayors, and 2 of them are women. And the first in Rome, never a woman in thousands of years has been directing the destiny of the city. And now it's a woman, and it's even a quite young woman. That doesn't mean anything. Only the fact that feminine energy goes into these positions, even if they fail, but there comes something new comes in, even if they don't. I don't want to say fail. I want to say even if they don't reach the goals they have and the fantasies they have, even if they don't, but something they have brought in. And the more of us who are finally overcoming the barriers and go out and do the things which are needed to be done, as Gertraud says, that can change the world and turn it around. But not necessarily by, occupying, I don't know what, It is more in the inner process that we need to accomplish within ourselves, see where the barriers is. And I'm really curious, Gertraud, how the younger generation of women is, if they are more self-confident than we are and were at least. If they have already, and I imagine by your way of educating them that they have a different basis, that they don't have to fight against the masculine or be in the masculine, but that they can have a appreciation for their own feminine qualities and go out with them. And what we need is have many of these women, including ourselves, and make sure that we ourselves appreciate our qualities, and then have them appreciated by others, and have the courage to lead with these qualities and not just try to do a copy of masculine ways. And we don't know yet how the feminine way is. We need to explore that. This is part of what we are doing now, I think, now and in future. So we can change the world. Maybe not from today to tomorrow, but we can.
Wonderful. I'd invite anyone else to jump in. Yeah.
I had, is it okay to go, Monika? I had a conversation with my youngest daughter, Leah. So she has your name. She said, you were after the 60s, you know, like we were in the 70s, but we were just demonstrating and things like that, and said, you don't see what we do. We are more subtle. So, like, we are doing crowdfunding, we are doing all kinds of stuff. We are not so visible in the world, but still we're doing the right things. And the daughter I was talking about, she is on the board of a refugee welcome, an organization that matches communities with refugees, so they can live in a community with people and just be people, not refugees we have to take care of. And she's so great in that. And this is not so, you know, like we have a big flag and something, we go out. And she said, you need to see what we are doing, and you need to look closely, because you don't detect it because you have another eye from your background. And that she gets mad if people say, oh, the new generation and no future, or you just take care of yourself. And I think that's an important part, to see what is their way of changing the world. For example, that girl, she had a very good job in Berlin. She could have it right away. They already said you can take it. And she chose to go to another city where her boyfriend lives. And because she said, my relationship is more important than a good job. So I'll find a way to have both. And I think there are a lot of really great kids out there that do a wonderful work that we might not see, because we have this, we need that bigger view. Yeah.
Can I come in here? I think this is wonderful, but I think the visibility is important, because otherwise in the newspapers and everywhere are only reported the other things. I think the visibility factor of what we are doing is needed now. The doing and caring we always have done as women, you know. But it must be, you know, I see it with my husband. When he does something, he wants to be praised. And I said, if you would praise me for everything, you don't even notice what I'm doing. You know, you would need to say all the time that I'm good and something like that. So they are so much better in making notice what they are doing. you know, and we don't do that. And I think we need to do that. Not in a false way, not in an exaggerated way, but in a way which is really making evident that things are happening, because otherwise the public opinion is, you know, only the other part takes it over. And I think we should, it's part of that what my mission is, to make visible what we are doing, you know. Okay, I think it's time to give it over to Monika. She is so quietly waiting. Okay, go ahead.
Monika, do you think that we can turn things around?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about what question we are following still.
Well, I would love to hear if you think that we can turn things around, and then,
yes.
bridge to whatever it is inspires you.
Yeah, I would like to pick up the educational part of what we could do, because there are two aspects: the parents and the teachers, and both are in their traditional context, still living in the traditional context. And there is one point I want to point out, explain. When children do something wrong, in the opinion of grown-ups, I say parents because it's easier. The parents say, yes, you mustn't do that, but what they add to this is their feelings, being angry and creating a context of, I don't like you anymore. And that's the most dangerous thing we can put our children in, because they are able to grow up as long as they feel loved without any conditions. And then they can develop their opinions, their minds, their whatever, and go into the world without fear. But when they have to be afraid of, could it be that my parents won't love me anymore if I do something wrong, then they are guided by fear and not by confidence. And that's a point. I think this should be a revolution. We should somehow spread this and start kind of a revolution. Well, it's already around, this thinking, but it's very, very few on very few positions. Just go out and look around at the supermarket, and how often you find parents to say, oh, don't do this, I don't like you anymore if you do this. That's terrible. That's one really terrible thing. So instead of this, you should say, that's right, that's wrong, nothing else. So, and I love you.
I love that piece around unconditional love, and about just having the confidence to step forward and instilling that in people, because and I think that that's part of the glass ceiling that we have been talking about with how women are perceived, treated, and also follow and act in the world. And so I very much think that you kind of hit the nail on the head in many ways we need to be empowered. We need to know that we matter, we're important, and that no matter what we do or what happens in our lives, we will be loved.
Yeah.
So the problem is now, if we had the past where we were not loved because we were not good enough, or we were not, I don't know what. So what you describe, Monika, is how the false beliefs, which are the conditionings in which we live, how they are created by messages in childhood, and nobody tells you better. And this was exactly what I learned in Feminine Power, about these conditionings which are invisible, which you are not even aware that you are in them.
Yeah.
And when I understood that, it's like the water fish swims and when you ask the fish, water, I don't know what that is. And so I felt that for 50 plus years in my life, I have lived in this way, and I didn't know that I was in these binaries, you know, and they kick in automatically, you know, all the consciousness work, yeah, everything fine, but these things, they are so below in the depths of your being that you don't notice it, and it takes really a special way of work to find out what is really driving you from underneath. And that's what when I found that out, I said, everybody needs to know that. But I found out that not many people want to know it.
Yeah. That's the next point, because if you, as you described it, if you tell somebody there is the picture of the whole the Stone Age people living in holes, and they didn't want to step out and see the bright world, they were still living in the hole. There is a philosophical picture on this, and I can't express it. But it creates fear and anxiety in the people when you tell them there is something else you could experience. They would be forced to leave their old life, their former life, and that's uncomfortable. They do not want to step out of their comfort zone.
Mm-hmm. Better the well-known hell than a promised paradise, no?
It's oh, hell for paradise, yes. And they are suspicious because they know paradise is not possible here on earth. No. It must be hell.
Yeah, and so the hell we know, and so we better stick to the hell because we don't know what comes after that. And even if you say it's better, but it costs some work and it costs a step out of the comfort zone. I actually tried that with my sister-in-law already years ago, and so far not yet. Also now she is very critical situation, and I could see that 3 years ago, but if you don't want to know it, you don't want to know it, you know.
Yeah, but and here is the point where the respect is starting. Just respect that she doesn't want to know at that time.
Gertraud.
Yeah, I would like to replace the word comfort zone. Because I think that comfort zone is as if people were comfortable in that zone where they have fear or whatever. It's more like a zone in which they don't feel the fear so much. So I don't know another word for it.
Habitual zone.
Yeah, but it's, for me, when I hear that, it is as if I don't respect them for that, because the people are afraid, and in appreciative inquiry we say that people are afraid of going to the future, and it's easier for them if they take something from the past with them, and if it's from the past it should be the good stuff from the past. And so it's like a child would rather go somewhere if it can take his teddy bear with him. So it's like, what do people need to get out of that? I know myself under the table and didn't want to come out when my father was spanking my sister. I know that, and I think to say that is a comfort zone is not the right word. It's a fear zone, and where you feel less fearful than going out. And for me, they're meeting people where they are and respecting and appreciating them where they are, because I think they always do what they feel is the best thing to do at that moment in the perspective they can take. So I think everybody wants to go to work and do a good job, and they do a lousy job because of several reasons, and it's not, I cannot impose it on them. I just need to meet them and find out what is that with children as well. Why my sister is a teacher for emotionally handicapped children, and she's now in a, what you would say in the Ken Wilber, in an orange school, where it's just about meeting the goals, and she says I need almost a year to get to their hearts, and then they open up and learn. So it's, yeah, I just felt like
Thank you.
It's not a comfort zone.
Yeah, I really appreciate you kind of reframing that, and I kept hearing courage in my, the courage zone, or something, and just in looking at how we actually do show up in the world. And I had 16 trains of thought there, actually, and right now about 4 of them are warring for attention. And I'm also conscious of our time today and coming to the end of our hour. And I just wanted to appreciate everyone and all of our contributions, and ask if we want to close by sharing maybe any questions that we would like to further explore together or to follow up on. Because, I mean, for me, this has been a very powerful experience of really seeing each other. There's some pieces here that Heidi's been talking about and is integral to her work in being seen, and then and also we all are bringing some pieces as well about being able to show up, because we have to show up to be seen. And so there's this beautiful reflection that I've been experiencing in this conversation today around being able to show up and be seen, and to practice that muscle as community members that happen to be identify as women, and really looking at our social spheres and saying, how can we show up here in a way that models what it is that we want to do and how we want to do it. And so, yeah, I would just in closing invite everyone to maybe throw out any further questions or further inquiries that you might want to explore on this subject or on any others. Does that feel like a good way to close? Wonderful. Looks like you're on, Monika.
Yes. I would like to add one word to what Gertraud said with the comfort zone. I feel the need to, because thank you, Gertraud. I never thought about this term in this way, and you're right. It's at the end, it's not a comfort zone, because you wouldn't leave it if it would be comfortable. So it might be an uncomfort zone, and it, you should uncomfort zone, or let's spell it home zone. So that's a zone where you are at home most of the time, and you try and find a zone or a life more comfortable. So thanks for your thoughts, Gertraud. That's very important to keep us going, keep us searching for the aspects. Okay, thank you.
Beautiful. Does anyone else want to jump in with some of your final thoughts and also any questions that you might want to have us further explore in the future?
I would jump in just to continue the discussion. I have created a blog which I had begun when I was learning the feminine power, and I now have recreated it. And I don't have the right URL here, but I would invite you. I will post this video here afterwards, and I would invite you, if you like, to write, and I can make you author, to write something about what has opened up for you through our call, because I think in this hour we cannot really explore everything which is popping in our head, and so maybe there is something, and you just write a short paragraph about it, and then we post it in that blog, and it is public, and so we could invite other people to read it and to participate via comments and so on, and maybe we get more visibility and more commission also. And for me too, Gertraud, this comfort zone thing, I had never thought about it. I think it's comfort, it's as presumed comfort, because it doesn't need any extra effort, but it's not really being comfortable. I do believe that. Yeah, thank you.
I would like to close with some thoughts that I didn't answer your question, Tammy, or just a part of it. If we can change the world, or
if we can turn
things around, and I strongly believe yes, and I think we need to do it on different levels. We need to do it on a personal, even spiritual level, like Ho'oponopono is that Hawaiian way of doing it. Then there's a doctor even going into a mental hospital, going with just the paperwork, never sees the patients, and working with that and really doing the work, and the symptoms change. So there is something on an energetic level that changes, and I think we need to be aware of that. So I would say with Ken Wilber, I would say to go into the causal and really make the world change from where it begins. And then on a personal level, like growing up and cleaning up our shadows and going beyond our our barriers, and on an interpersonal level and beyond on a social level. So I think it's not activism as such, but like going out into the world, and one of the things that we did was the Unity and Diversity process, to do that process with many people to really connect the dots, getting the people together, and that everybody who is on that path knows from each other, so that the whole thing can become a stream and not just many creeks somewhere. So that I think there are different levels on which we have to do the work, and some people are more drawn to the other, but I think you can't skip any of them.
Agreed.
For the larger scale. So that is something I would love to explore more. And I'm very happy, and thank you very much for your facilitation, for you, Heidi, providing that space, and Monika stepping in. We haven't talked to each other yet, and I came to know you a lot better from scratch and jumpstart. And Tammy, is always really, really great to see you again and have that conversation with you. I'm very happy that you showed up in the Unity and Diversity calls, and now you're part of of my life.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. We've got some feedback. So I guess I'll in closing for myself, I'll answer the question as well. Just I definitely think that we can turn things around, and I think that we can do that through, in part, through being able to talk together, think together, share our knowledge and the tools that we've created, and maybe more than anything else, to listen, right? To provide opportunities for people to be able to really take it in and think. And I think that together we can create a tapestry of pictures that we can better understand our state and where we're at. Not only those challenges, which I think we're overwhelmed by, reporting and media that's focused on the challenges that we face, but balance that through talking about the amazing, awesome initiatives, people, projects, and what is being grown and developed and nourished and created to meet those challenges. And so I think that we're doing it right now. This is the change. We show up, we see each other, we talk together, and we spend time investing in understanding both each other, a wider picture, and contributing to the world in that way. So I think that that's one of the way forwards, not the only way, but certainly a way that creates a doorway for anyone to be able to say what's important to them or what they bring to the table, and to use communication tools to step into our new reality that we are creating together. And so thank you. I will pass this off to Heidi to do our close. Thank you so much, Heidi, for having us.
Yeah, thank you for taking over the moderation role, and whoever wants to do it next time, I'm fine with that. And I want to invite you on Friday. We have an exploration call with a person I met on Google+, and I don't have it now here. The title is about restoring to nature health. So when you Google it, it's always the other way around, taking from nature for our health. But what can we do to give health back to nature? And it is ignited by a post this person has posted on Google+ about a man who didn't wait anymore for the authorities to clean the water of the river, but did it by himself. And so this is a very interesting conversation, and if you want to take part, if you are interested in preserving nature and life on Earth, let's say, you're very welcome to join in. And yeah, and what I said, the Wisdom Factory Women blogspot.it. If you want to go there and see a little bit around and join us in writing and posting. It would be nice if we had that as a platform for our talks, and I hope we can go on with that and expand it. And there are so many still topics there which are surfaced but not really went into, so we have a lot to say. Maybe even when we find interest in German, we are 3 German girls, we can also do that in German, something like this. We will see what comes out of that. So thank you. And all the audience who is watching now, there are some, and also later on YouTube, you are welcome to leave a comment, and if you want to join us, tell us. We will see. Okay. Bye-bye.